Okay, welcome to this explainer. I want you to think of yourself today not just as a computer science student, but as a film director. Because when you sit down for that exam, your paper is your script, and you need to build a blockbuster answer, scene by scene. You've got to cut the filler and keep the action. Let's set the stage with a real Cambridge Computer Science past paper challenge, specifically dealing with the 9618 syllabus. Imagine two typical students taking this exam. First, we have Alex. Now, Alex is super smart, but Alex absolutely overloads the page with raw computer science facts, brain dumping everything possible, but offering zero actual analysis. Then we have Sam. Sam rushes through the paper, completely missing the command word requirements in the prompt. Today, we're decoding the examiner's playbook, uncovering where the marks are actually hidden, and building a bulletproof strategy to avoid the traps that snare students like Alex and Sam when they're asked about locating resources on the World Wide Web.
Now, this quote is a massive reality check. Principal examiners view this topic in a very specific way. It isn't just a basic foundational concept, it's the ultimate grade differentiator. A B-grade candidate, like Sam, knows what a URL stands for and maybe rushes out a quick sentence about web browsers. But an A-star candidate? They build a flawless scene. They understand the underlying theoretical architecture, how the protocol talks to the domain name system, and how it all connects to the broader web infrastructure. Fun fact, since Tim Berners-Lee defined the first URL back in 1991, they've become the absolute backbone of the internet. That deep, structural distinction is exactly what we are going to master today.
Here is our roadmap to securing those top marks. Section 1, Core Theoretical Principles. Section 2, the Method Mark Strategy. This is how you pick up points even if your final product isn't perfectly polished. Section 3 is our Critical Analysis Framework. And finally, Section 4 covers the top examiner warnings to keep you out of those common pitfalls. Let's jump right into the action.
Number 1. Core Theoretical Principles and how to push way beyond the basics.
So what does this actually mean for your exam script? Understanding a URL goes way beyond a simple dictionary definition. Yes, it's the mechanism for locating resources on the web. But examiners are actively looking for a connected, conceptual understanding that is transferable to unfamiliar context. They won't just ask a textbook question. They'll present a completely new, wild scenario. You need an evidence-based framework to lean on when that happens. This is where we introduce the PEAL framework: point, evidence, explanation, link. Alex misses this completely by just listing facts. To get the marks, you make your point about the URL, provide evidence like a specific path or protocol, explain how it functions, and link it back to the question's specific scenario.
Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. Okay, back to the strategy. Examiners demand 4 key elements in your extended responses. First, precise definitions right out of the gate. Decode the command word immediately. Second, demonstrating causal relationships. If a parameter in the URL changes, what is the exact effect on the server request? Third, integrating with other syllabus areas. And fourth, exhibiting systematic analysis. Remember our friend Alex? Alex throws 50 facts at the page, but top students use the PEAL framework to structure these 4 requirements. You can't just list things. Your answer must be methodical, targeted, and directly answer the command word.
Let's make this interactive. I want you to mentally spot which type of answer follows that PEAL framework. Is it the one that just lists URL components, or the one that explains how a URL triggers a DNS lookup? It's the second one, right? And this brings us to a massive insider secret straight from the marking room. Principal examiner reports explicitly highlight that students who connect URLs to other areas of the curriculum are the ones who achieve those significantly higher marks. If you can explain how a URL interacts with DNS resolution or network security protocols like HTTPS, or even database queries via a web form, you are signaling to the examiner that you understand the entire computer science ecosystem, not just an isolated topic.
Let's move into our next phase. Number 2, the method mark strategy: process over product.
This is where the transformation happens. Imagine taking Alex and Sam's flawed answers, grabbing our red pen, and transforming those mistakes into green check marks. We do this using a specific 4-step procedural framework, which is essentially your computer science success blueprint. Whether you're parsing a URL string or writing a validation script, examiners need to see you design your algorithm first, implement the solution, comprehensively test it, and evaluate its performance. Sam rushes and skips straight to implementation, right? That is a guaranteed way to lose method marks. The examiner wants to see your thought process on the page.
Think about the breakdown of algorithmic requirements here.
If I gave you 60 seconds to rewrite a flawed answer, this is the blueprint you'd use. For problem breakdown, you need step-by-step decomposition, like extracting a domain name from a massive complex URL string. For data handling, you must select the appropriate structures. Then comes efficient coding, followed by rigorous quality assurance testing. Every single action here represents a bucket of method marks waiting to be claimed. Even if your final code has a syntax error, showing this step-by-step action plan secures the majority of the points.
Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. Okay, let's dive into Section 3, Critical Analysis Framework, the Evaluative Mindset. Welcome to the interactive workshop portion of our explainer. I'm putting a mental 60-second timer on the clock for our first challenge, a rapid data scan. When you look at a complex computer science problem, to hit those A-star brackets, your answers must showcase evaluative thinking. Can you quickly extract the core trend? Examiners actively look for these markers. Are you considering multiple solutions before settling on one? Are you explicitly analyzing the trade-offs, for example, the speed of processing a URL versus memory efficiency? Do you acknowledge the limitations of your proposed solution? And crucially, are you justifying your decisions with solid evidence? That is how you win the marks.
Challenge number 2 in our workshop, find the flaw. When reviewing sample paragraphs, students constantly lose marks because they jump straight to step 3 without doing step 1 and 2. This deconstruct, solve, evaluate pathway is your absolute blueprint for tackling complex problem solving. Start at step 1, identify the given information. Break it into logical steps. Solve it systematically. Step 4 is critical and often totally missed by students like Sam. Check for reasonability. Does your parsed URL actually make sense in the real world? Finally, step 5, make justified recommendations based on your findings. If you find the flaw in your own logic during step 4, you save your grade.
All right, challenge 3, speed writing. Imagine a 30-second timer ticking down. You have to write one perfect PO paragraph comparing 2 concepts. A massive mistake students make under pressure is only listing the differences. True comparative analysis requires you to actively identify similarities and differences. You need to bridge your points with comparative connectives, words like whereas, similarly, or conversely, and support each point with evidence before drawing a conclusion. If you can master this speed writing technique using the PL framework, you will dominate the extended response sections. Moving into our final act, number 4, top examiner warnings and how we learn from other students' mistakes. Let's present the complete computer science answering system recap. There are 3 rules that guarantee top marks: command word decoding, PL framework application, and a time management matrix. And they directly combat these top 3 student mistakes straight from the grading room. Mistake 1, confusing cause and effect when explaining networks. Mistake 2, forgetting boundary conditions and edge cases when testing algorithms. And mistake 3, the absolute most common, providing generic, memorized answers instead of tailoring your response to the specific context provided. You cannot just regurgitate a textbook. Context is king. Here is a massive warning directly from the examiners, flashing in bright red. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Using the wrong term or using a term vaguely immediately signals a lack of mastery. In computer science, precision is everything. A protocol is not a domain, and a path is not a parameter. You must be exact. Listen, students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. So, how do we fix this terminology issue? By following the golden rule for extended responses. Always define your terms before using them to build your argument. If a question asks you to evaluate the security of a specific URL structure, start by briefly defining the components of that URL. This secures your theoretical foundation immediately. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @aceexams_IGCSE and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. We've covered a ton of ground today, from the PEAL framework to evaluative thinking. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here. So ask yourself right now, Which element of the method mark strategy are you going to implement in your very next past paper? The next time you see a URL, don't just look at a web address. Look at the architecture, decode the logic, and write your blockbuster answer. Get to work, and we'll see you in the next session.